In the UK, 1 in 2 women feel unsafe walking home alone at night in the dark, with 1 in 5 women avoiding going out at night altogether. In March 2022, a survey was conducted on the perceptions of personal safety and experiences of harassment in the UK. It showed the difference in percentages that women experience harassment in the dark compared to the daytime. It showed harassment occurred 72% more in a park or open space, 47% more on a quiet street, and 40% more on a busy public space after dark. For this documentary, we asked many women of all ages if they'd experienced harassment or a feeling of being unsafe in the public after dark. Jazz Asai, a 31-year-old, shared her experience of being followed from the bus a few years ago.
All the way on the bus journey, I had like a weird vibe. And to be honest, the person I had the weird vibe about did get off the bus before my stop, but I was going all the way to Stockport. And when I got to my stop, I got off, and then some man tapped me on the back and said that he saw me in Piccadilly Gardens, followed me onto the bus, and followed me all the way to my bus stop and got off when I got off. And he said, "Did I want to be friends?" And I said, "No, I don't know you. You're at least 20 years older than me." And then he practically shouted at me because his bus stop was earlier and he should have got off earlier. Like he was expecting, I don't know what he was expecting, for me to invite him home, or I've no idea. But I honestly, at that point, I was like, oh my God, terrified. So I called my dad because he was a taxi driver at the time. And I thought maybe he's nearby and can just come and scoop me up, because I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't know where he'd gone, and I didn't want to leave the main road and go down some side roads to where I was living at the time. Because, I feel like that's just the most dangerous thing you can do. So I ended up, he said he'd come and get me, but didn't say how far away he was. But I ended up being in, like the middle island between crossings over a dual carriageway. So I just stayed there. I think there's less, there's not many opportunities for me to be walking home alone anymore. I probably avoid them, or I don't really put myself in those situations. But the times that I have walked home late at night, there is that little fear constantly. I think as a female, I think, you kind of, what's the word? You get used to having that fear.
Grace Whitlam, who's 22, was cornered on the way home to her uni house last year.
I was just walking home from the library. I had my headphones in and no one was around, but I did realise that there was someone walking in front of me but like facing me. And he sort of was walking backwards as I was walking forwards, and I was like, that's a bit strange, but didn't engage or look at him. And then I felt that there was someone behind me, and I looked behind and I realised I was trapped in between these two men on the pavement as I was walking, and they were sort of talking to each other over my head, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. So there were also parked cars along the side and like buildings along there, so I literally couldn't get out, and I think naturally I would move to the other side of the road or sort of walk away, but I just couldn't, and I didn't know what to do, and I felt like they were getting closer. So I think I panicked, and the first thing I did was turn off my music, and so I could just be aware of my surroundings. And then, yeah, I just panicked. I just didn't know what to do in that situation, and I kind of thought the worst. But I walked past a shop, and someone came outside the shop, and these guys clocked on and then ran away. And I was just left on my own, and I sort of just sped up and got out of the situation and like tried to get home as quickly as I could. And I immediately called my boyfriend because I didn't feel safe at all. I don't know what happened, and nothing did come of it, but in that situation I just panicked, and then I sort of was it's like fight or flight, like I don't know what to do, and maybe they were harmless. But I kind of got home and I burst into tears because I was just like, what is going on? Like, maybe they followed me, I don't know. So I've never walked on that road again in the night.
Hannah Coulson, who is 24, felt unsafe walking home alone from work after being harassed by a customer. So I used to work in this pub 5-minute walk away from my house, and there was this guy who came in like 3 days. On the first day he came in and I just was being nice to him because, you know, like I worked there. And then on the second day came in, did the same. Just I didn't really think anything of it. And then until the third day, he came in like looking for me, asking where I was. And my friend who worked there texted me like, "Oh, your friend's in." And I had no idea who it was, but I came in later that day, and he came in and like gave me like a bottle of wine and like flowers. But obviously I didn't touch them. And then he eventually did get barred, but it was after me like sort of like being scared in the corner, like saying no, I need like him gone, cause like the guy who owned the bar didn't do anything immediately. And then obviously like when I was going home at night, I just couldn't like stop thinking that he was following me, and kept just turning around, like making sure he wasn't there, because I didn't know that he wasn't going to be there outside waiting for me. So yeah, I just had to run home, get home as fast as I could, but I was still worried that he knew where I lived. Even though nothing actually happened, I still felt like something could have, and it could have been so easy for him to find out where I actually lived. And there's been times where I've been walking home at night and I've just thought that people are following me, which has obviously stemmed from that. In Merseyside, we have the Safer Streets campaign, which first launched in March 2022. The campaign aims to tackle violence against women and girls by making it clear there is no excuse for behaviours such as catcalling, unwanted sexual comments, groping, uninvited touching, while encouraging anyone who has been affected by sexual violence to reach out for support. Emily Sporrell, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Merseyside, said that every woman and girl I speak to has a story to tell about a bad experience they've had while using public transport. Whether it's men sitting too close, unwanted sexual touching, or sexualised comments. Too many women don't feel safe going to work or meeting friends on a night out. That's why we've launched Safer Streets Merseyside. We must make every woman and girl feel safer and be safer using our public transport network. While this campaign is definitely a step in the right direction, it predominantly focuses on the public transport in the city. It has little mention of walking during the nighttime economy for women and girls. While the campaign does state that over 80% of women feel unsafe due to poor or no street lighting, the action from the campaign doesn't mention an increase in street lighting. This does beg the question about what helps protect women and girls on the in-between stages of their journey, meaning to and from the bus stop. The campaign is a development in the fight against violence against women and girls, but we need to consider what the next step is. Dr. Cassie Ogden, a sociologist, said that it can be difficult to create something that can make women feel safer because there's two issues with the fear women experience. There's a feeling of being unsafe, which can be warranted or not, meaning fear can be created even if it's not manifested. We can be fearful of something that's not there. But then there is the actual risk, which does exist, and in this case it is gendered towards women. The things we see on TV can oversimplify these issues, therefore can generate a bit of fear. This isn't helpful because the vast majority of people are caring, kind, and are not out to get you. But this doesn't undermine the fear we have as women. We need to make a change in culture by needing to think of people as responsible citizens, whatever their gender, situation, and context. She also stated that the conversation surrounding women's safety in the nighttime economy should include the male perspective. Viewing the issue in a critical way from a diverse set of voices would help raise the issue of women's safety. The male perspective shouldn't dominate the discussion, but it is an important piece of the puzzle. There definitely needs to be a conversation across genders where men are realising the impact of their words.
I didn't even realise until my flatmate pointed out, because I would often go for walks at like 2, 3 a.m. And she said she was jealous, and I was like, why? You can literally do that as well, but you can't. And I think that's why it's important to have like platonic relationships with women, because they make you see things that you might not understand. And I think a lot of men walk through life without even thinking about it, because a lot of society was catered towards them and all of their needs, and they need to hold more accountability to it instead of leaving everyone else to worry. I think the conversation needs to start more within male friendship groups in themselves, and they need to encourage each other to try and do better.
Following the murder of Sarah Everard in March of 2021, the fear for young girls and women became increasingly present. Two friends, Alice Jackson and Rachel Chung, decided to take action. They launched unsafe, which is a telephone helpline that anyone can call if walking home alone at night. The hotline is open Friday, Saturday and Sunday and is a free phone number. Cara Campbell, who is part of the outreach team and service provision, is also a call handler for the hotline. She decided to join after her daughter moved away to university and liked the idea that if her daughter was out and about, there was a service that she could call to feel safer.
We have had callers who are like, no, I've passed a group of guys in the street and they're shouting at me. I've had a guy try to kiss me and I'm just walking home. I'm a bit worried he might still be behind me. So we do get a few of those, and we just kind of try and keep them calm and make sure that they know that we're there. And the majority of our callers get home absolutely safely, no problem at all. It's a predominantly gendered issue, and I think just listening, and I think I think there's a lot of society that needs to change, and men don't realise how unsafe it is to be walking the streets at night alone. And I think the people we have in power are majority male, and kind of have the same opinion. And I think until that changes and until women are listened to more, I don't know that it's actually going to change much. But it's a great little charity. We've got a great community behind us, and we just try to do what we can to help people walking home feel a little bit safer, and we hope that we do that.
unsafe is purely donation based, and all call handlers are volunteers who take calls in their free time. The hotline is available for anyone to use on 0333 335 0026.